Former Vice President Joe Biden is expanding, as we say, on his new lead in Georgia as officials continue to work around the clock to count the final ballots. And we thank those workers who are doing that very hard work day in and day out ever since the start of the election cycle. The former vice president eked ahead overnight and is currently up by over 1,000 votes. Now, despite this, Georgia does remain a toss-up, and it is crucial to the president's re-election chances. If Biden were to win the state's 16 electoral votes, that would still put him just one electoral vote shy of reaching the 270 threshold. As we've been saying, the last Democrat to win the state was Bill Clinton back in 1992. President Trump needs to win this state. That is crucial for him. He needs to win all the states that are left on the table right now. Let's bring in CBS News 2020 campaign reporter LaCrai Mitchell, who's been covering the developments in Georgia overnight. LaCrai, I went to sleep, and I saw a couple of tweets and I saw a couple of emails from our political unit about what was going down in Pennsylvania, that the counting was continuing through the night. So how many ballots still need to be counted?
So as of a few minutes ago, Vlad, we received an announcement from the Georgia Secretary of State's office that said that as of 8:15 this morning, there are approximately 8,197 ballots that are still outstanding. And the lion's share of those, more than half, are in Gwinnett County. And Gwinnett County is one of those battleground counties that we've been tracking. It's a county that has seen immense growth. It's diversified a lot in recent years, and it's the second largest county in the state. As a matter of fact, Kathy Cox, who was the first woman to serve as Georgia's Secretary of State, told me a while back that if a Democrat wanted to win the state of Georgia, they would need to do well in Gwinnett County. And so today, with Gwinnett County still having ballots outstanding, we'll be looking at that county. But I will say, you know, Gwinnett County actually experienced an issue with software on election day, and so they had actually released some results knowing that they were going to have to go back and review some batches of votes to get them adjudicated and reviewed. So during a press conference yesterday afternoon, the Gwinnett County Board of Elections told us that they had started the process of beginning to scan some of the absentee ballots, and they were going to go through the adjudication process. But they did tell us reporters that they wanted to wait until they had gone through and reviewed before they started getting out the batches of results, new results to us, to make sure that it's accurate.
So former gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams tweeted this morning after Biden took the lead, praising several state Democrats and voting activists for their initiatives. CBS News isn't projecting a winner yet, but, you know, I have heard a lot of people say that Stacey Abrams deserves a lot of credit, too, for the inroads that she made when she ran for governor. Can you talk a little bit about that, how she kind of helped to position Democrats in a more positive place in Georgia?
Absolutely, and you're going to continue to hear that. I'm sure of it. As a matter of fact, in her tweet this morning, she said, quote, she wanted to thank those who've been in the trenches, is what she said. And she gave a shout out to some of those groups, the New Georgia Project, Fair Fight, which she is the founder of. And I'll tell you, Anne-Marie and Vlad, as I've been covering this state in the run-up to the election, Stacey Abrams and the 2018 gubernatorial race have continued to come up, especially in progressive circles, especially in Democratic circles, and with some voters who said that how that race turned out motivated them to get more involved, to mobilize more, to be ready and make sure that votes and voices were heard in this election. And so, you know, as you may remember, even that race was very close in 2018. If I remember correctly, she came within 1.39 points or so of winning that race. And so today, in that tweet, she thanked these groups, but you will continue to hear people give her praise for the inroads that she made. And that election for so many people showed what gains Georgia was making and sort of how the blue wave in that state was expanding, because it was quite a feat that she had come so close to clinching that race.
You know, LaCrai, let's just also, as we talk about the results that are still coming into us, about the legal challenges that President Trump and his campaign have put forth. A judge dismissed the Trump campaign lawsuit in Georgia on Thursday, challenging about 53 absentee ballots in Chatham County, which is currently favoring Biden. First of all, we should remind our viewers, the governor of Georgia is a Republican. The Secretary of State is a Republican. Can you tell us how state officials are trying to ensure the transparency and confidence in the process? Every interview that I've seen with every Secretary of State and governors and former governors is that everybody working, whether it's in Georgia, whether it's in North Carolina, in Pennsylvania, are doing their civic duty, and they're doing their utmost to make sure that this election is fair.
No matter the political party, everyone wants to get this right. Everyone understands how crucial and how important it is to get this right. And so what you've seen in Georgia over the past few days even, as Secretary of State Raffensperger has held these press conferences, he's made sure to say, we want to get the count right. We're going to be effective and efficient, but we want to make sure that we're right, so that when we do release results, people are confident in those. I was looking this morning, as a matter of fact, the press releases that that have been coming in from the Georgia Secretary of State's office, the subject line, it says, with X votes out, and they fill that in with outstanding ballots, officials focused on getting it right. And that has been the subject in these press releases that they've been putting out. And I think it is because from the state level on down to the county level, you've heard over and over again this recurring theme of, we want to make sure we get this right so that voters can feel good about the results. No matter whether or not your candidate wins, they want to make sure that voters feel like their voices were heard in the process.
And you know, when you have such a small margin between the two candidates, every single vote counts. I think it's less than 1,000 last time I checked. And so today is the deadline for voters to cure their ballots in Georgia. Can you talk about what that is and what the process is?
Sure. So curing a ballot is the process of, if there's a deficiency with your absentee ballot, curing it is the process of getting that ballot fixed, essentially, and then validated. And according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, for the state of Georgia, that entails submitting a voter ID in conjunction with an affidavit that you confirm that the ballot was, in fact, your ballot. So with those two components, the National Conference of State Legislatures says that you can then go about the process of curing your ballot in the state of Georgia today. And just so voters know, if your ballot was not accepted, you should have received a notification saying so, so that you know that you need to get that done. And in Georgia, you need to get it done today.
LaCrai, as you know, we're also following both of the tight Georgia Senate races. It hasn't gotten a lot of attention over the last couple of days, but it is sort of fascinating. And what you're hearing from the current Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is very different than what you're hearing from the President of the United States. Majority Leader McConnell, a couple of days ago, said that he doesn't even know if he will be the Majority Leader or the Minority Leader after all of these votes are counted and these elections are decided. So break down what's going on in Georgia, because this potentially could tip the balance of power in the United States Senate to the Democrats.
So as of right now, looking at CBS News election editorial data, as of 9/18, the Senate race involving Republican Senator David Perdue and Democratic challenger Jon Ossoff, as it stands, Republican Senator David Perdue has 49.8% of the votes that have come in, and Democratic challenger Jon Ossoff, our elections data has him at 47.8%. In that special Senate race, you have the Democratic candidate, Reverend Raphael Warnock, currently at 32.9%, while Kelly Loeffler, who is the incumbent, she was the senator appointed by Republican Governor Brian Kemp, she is currently at 26%. And as you said, Vlad, we will continue to watch those races. I know for us folks that have been covering Georgia in the run-up to this election, that is something we have definitely been keeping tabs on how that race has evolved to now in this moment, and something that we'll continue to keep tabs on, because as you said, it is important, and it is going to really give us a clear picture, you know, not just what's happening at the top of the ticket with the presidential, but what's happening down ballot too.
Yeah, LaCrai, thanks a lot. Vlad talked about going to sleep and waking up, and what I thought to myself was, does she even know what that means, at least over the last few days?
No.
Speaking of
I know what coffee means, though. Lots of coffee.
Yeah, now I feel guilty. I'm like, yes, while I went to bed leisurely
Don't feel guilty. I'm happy to be doing this work. I'm happy to be doing this work.
Well, you do a great job, and we really appreciate you, you know, making sure that you show up for us. We really value it.
Thanks, LaCrai.
Thank you.